Welcome everyone to the Better Love Movement podcast, where you will finally learn how to intentionally do dating and relationships right. My name is Anita Stoudemire, and I am a licensed professional therapist and your personal love mentor. I've worked with thousands of singles and couples, giving them the skills needed to attract and keep the amazing love they desire. It is my heart's work to help people to get the skills needed to not only become the very best versions of themselves, but to help them grow and evolve emotionally and relationally. You can absolutely have the romantic relationship of your dreams. Come and let me show you how. Hey ladies, we are back again this week with another episode of the Better Love Movement podcast. This is a solo episode this week. We have had so much fun this year up until now, having some truly amazing guests on the podcast, and I have even more guests coming for you. But this week, I wanted to talk with you by myself, by my lonesome, which is pretty typical for the podcast. And this week, we're in episode number 150. Can you believe it? 150 episodes of the podcast. And this week is a good one. This is an important one. This one is a really important episode. It's called 10 Ways to Gain a Man's Cherishing and Respect. I cannot believe I haven't talked about this sooner, but I have talked about a lot of these principles in other podcast episodes, but I am going to sum them all up in this podcast episode. So this is the one that you need to listen to, watch again, and rewatch. Take notes, okay? Because these are the 10 things that will get you a man who is cherishing of you and who respects you. This one's really, really important. So I have my notes, okay, because I said, you know what, I'm not going to get off track. I'm not going to miss anything. So I have my notes today. So if you see me look down, that's what I'm doing. I'm looking at my notes. So let's jump right into this episode. Let me say this before we get started. Wherever you are listening to this episode, whatever platform you're on, do me the biggest favor ever and subscribe. Subscribe to the podcast. That is the way that you can support me without spending a dime. You can hit the subscribe button. And that way, whenever a new episode comes out, you will be alerted. And you can keep up on this journey to feminine power and being the girl. So do me the biggest favor ever and subscribe to the podcast. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, let's jump right in. 10 ways to gain a man's cherishing and respect. We're going to start from 10. These are actually in no specific order, but I'm going to start from 10 and I'm going to go back, okay? Number 10, and this probably should be number 1, but number 10, if I was ranking them, I want you to have high standards. One of the ways that a feminine woman gains a man's cherishing and respect, especially his respect, is by having high standards. And you do not lower those standards for anyone. You do not make exceptions on the standards. One of the things that I hear going around the manosphere is that a woman will come down on her standards. She will break her boundaries if the man is attractive enough, rich enough, if they have the right chemistry. No. In my world, it does not matter who the man is. And I've had many a manosphere man fight me on this and say, oh, Anita, if you can abstain or if you can keep from kissing a man in the first 30 days, or if you can keep from going over to his house or having him, that means you're not into him. That means you don't like him. That's what they're saying. Not true. There are plenty of men that I have liked, dare I say loved, dare I say had passionate chemistry with. And I refrained from going over to their house, from having them over at my house. I refrained from kissing. I refrained from all of that because the last I checked, I'm a grown-up woman. I'm not a little girl. I'm not led around by my feelings or my emotions anymore, or by chemistry, or by money, or by how good looking he is. Okay. But now, here's what I have recognized, and this is what I want you to come to. I have a standard, and I apply that standard to every single man that's interested in me, that wants to engage with me, take me out, date me, court me, whatever. Everyone gets the same standards and they are high. Okay. So having high standards for yourself when dating, it lets people know that you love yourself. It lets people know that you value yourself, right? When you say, this is the least, this is the least I'm going to accept. This is where my standard is. So I've given the analogy about the store many times, right? Choose a store, ladies. What's your store? What's your brand? My brand is Tiffany & Company. I just recently received a beautiful, crown, a beautiful silver crown on a chain from Tiffany's. And that is my store. That is my brand. So beautiful, elegant, simple, right? Classy. That's what Tiffany & Company, that's what the brand is. That is my standard. And so if things in there cost a certain amount of money, like there's no sale, there's no discount. That's what it costs. The last time I was in there, which was 2 weeks ago, I was like, okay, this is what it cost. I didn't even think to bother to say, oh, is there any discount or is it? No, everything in there, the price is the price. Okay. And that's what you have to determine. What is the price? I don't give discounts to anybody anymore. I've had a period in my life where I did, but I don't do that anymore. So if it costs $1,000, don't show up with $999. Nope. Sorry. It cost $1,000. Come back when you have $1,000. So that's what setting standards is. We have to say, this is the minimum I'm willing to accept. This is my standard. This is what makes me feel good. This is what makes me feel loved and cherished and respected. And so, yeah, this is what it is. All right. Don't lower your standards for anyone. All right. Not because of chemistry, not because of, oh, he looks like he's wealthy and, this whole idea of not going over to his place on a first date, but he invited me over to his penthouse. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Michael B. Jordan. I don't care if it's Idris Elba. I don't care if it's, I don't know, name some other, famous, attractive, I don't care. No, I don't go over to a man's house on the first date. And here's the thing I want to tell you about that. First of all, if the man is attractive, if he is wealthy, if he does have any clout, he's going to be kind of surprised because that's not something that he probably hears very often, but you are a high value feminine woman. He should hear it from you. Like, I don't go over to men's homes that I'm just meeting. I don't feel comfortable doing that. But set your standards and keep them set. The other thing I'm going to say about this is communicate your standards. And I know for some of you, this is going against everything that you may have been taught that a man should just know, a masculine man should just know, a manly man should just know how to treat a woman. No, it's your responsibility to communicate what your standards are. So again, just like I expressed, if a man says, oh, I'm a personal chef and I'd love to make you an amazing meal, come over to my place. I'd love to make you an amazing meal for our first date, 7-course meal, right? And you just simply say, I don't feel comfortable coming to a man's home that I'm just meeting. What feels good to me is to be taken out somewhere, to be treated, to be taken out to a nice restaurant. And you know what? Because you're a chef, I'm sure you know plenty of amazing restaurants. So feel free to pick one and plan a date and I'll be there. See, you just communicate that doesn't work for you. No, thank you. Okay. Number 9, just as equally important as standards are your boundaries. And we've talked about this in the first book, Choose Well, a simple formula to determine the best man for you. A lady must have standards. And then secondly, she must have boundaries. And healthy boundaries are the do's and don'ts. And for the record, men love do's and don'ts. They love do's and don'ts. Men love to win. They love to play games like sports. They love to win. They're highly competitive, but they need to know what the rules are, right? And that's your job. You let them know what the rules are so they can win this game. But it's simply the do's and don'ts. So after 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock is my bedtime. I've expressed that so many times. 10 o'clock is my bedtime. I really don't answer calls past 10 o'clock. I don't text past 10 o'clock. And a man will continue to try. And then when he doesn't get a response until the next morning, he then learns, wow, Anita, she means what she says. Or her bedtime's at 10. She's not answering back. She's not answering the phone. No, And the same with the, coming over to my home, letting you pick me up from my home when we're just meeting. That's a boundary. That's a healthy boundary that I have set. My home is, it's my private space. It is my happy place. It is the place where my children live off and on when they're, back from college. My pets live here. This is my sanctuary. I can't have someone I'm just getting to know coming to my home. That's just not safe. That's just not safe. So have healthy boundaries for yourself. What is okay for you and what isn't. Another boundary that I have is I really don't feel comfortable with touch. I don't feel comfortable. Like, it's one thing to just give a church hug. Like, I think I could do that because I give that in church, right? I give a church hug, when I'm greeting people at church. I could greet a man on a first date with a church hug. But if he starts to like hand hold and put his hand on my thigh, if he wants to, that's a big no. That's a boundary. That's a boundary that I have. And then I usually let him know I don't feel comfortable with that type of physical affection early on. Like, we're just getting to know each other. And that's a healthy boundary that I have. It's one thing to give you a church hug because I can give that in church. But it's another thing to want to hand hold. It's another thing to want to, put your hand on the small of my back or put your hand on my thigh, kiss me. I mean, kiss me on the lips or the cheek. Like, that's a little too much to me for a first date. So those are my boundaries. And again, it's up to me to express to that man what my boundaries are. Initially, you're going to express those boundaries when you feel like they're about to be crossed. And then as the dating or the courting continues on, you can then express some other healthy boundaries. Even though he's not crossing them, you can say, oh, I just don't feel comfortable giving a man money. That's a boundary I have. And again, I've had plenty of men make fun of me and say, well, how about when you're married? How about when you're engaged? I don't feel comfortable giving a man money. It just drives me right up. It's a total turnoff. A man needs to figure it out. He needs to, go to someone else, but coming to me and asking for money or asking for a loan, it just is a complete and total turnoff. And I'm honest. If nothing else. I tell men that is a total turnoff to me. So have healthy boundaries, express what those boundaries are. That's the most important part. Hold those boundaries. You have to maintain those boundaries. So that means that you have consequences. When those boundaries are crossed, you have consequences, or you alert a person, okay, here's my boundary. Usually the first time I don't, because again, they may not know what that boundary is. But if it continues, like if I was dating a man and the first date, he got a little too handsy and I said, I don't feel comfortable so early on with that type of physical affection. And if he said, well, I'm physically affectionate, I'm a hugger, I'm a kisser. Okay, but I don't know you. I don't know you and I don't feel comfortable. I feel comfortable doing that with a man I'm in an exclusive relationship with. I feel comfortable doing that with a man I'm engaged to and a man that I'm married, but I don't know you. I need time to get to know you. So if he continues, the consequence would be not going out with him anymore. I would not go out with him anymore. And if he asked me, well, I wanted to take you out again, like, why aren't we going out? Because you can't seem to respect the boundary I have about physical touch. See? So there has to be consequences. Boundaries will also mean that you're going to have hard conversations. And ladies, we're going to talk about this a little later on in another way that, you're going to have hard conversations. As a matter of fact, number one, we're going to talk about, you have to be able to have hard conversations. We can't let this go. We can't let it slide. We can't abandon ourselves and let people continue to cross our boundaries and we do nothing, because then what is the point of having boundaries? So, but you have to let people know, this is what works for me. This is what doesn't work for me. I don't mind giving the church hug when we greet, or maybe when we leave. That's it. Until we have established that this relationship is mutually, like we're mutually affectionate, we mutually like each other, we're growing toward exclusive and committed, sure. But until then, I just don't feel comfortable with so much physical touch, okay? All right, number 8. Okay, and this is, remember, 10 ways to gain a man's cherishing and respect. So number 8 is don't overshare. A lot of women are guilty of this. A lot of women are guilty of this. And I have to get on a lot of the women I coach about this. I don't even go on the dates that the ladies that I coach, I don't even go on their dates, but I can tell by our conversation that they're oversharing, that they're saying things that they should not be saying. They're talking too much. They're not asking the right questions. They're just oversharing. And some of women do it through text. Some women do it verbally, but do not overshare. So too many words. Women love words. Women speak about 20,000 words a day. Men speak about 7,000 words a day. But women have to learn how to be very, very mindful, very deliberate about the words that they use. They have to ask questions, and it's how you ask those questions, right? So it's not like I'm interviewing you or you're under interrogation. It's a casual, like, oh, tell me a little bit about your childhood, or what's your relationship like with your mom? See, casual. And listening, because a lot of women need to listen. A lot of women need better listening skills, but I get it. Some of my coaching clients say, I just get so nervous, and before I know it, I'm just talking and talking and talking. And I'm telling him things, intimate things, things about my past relationships, things about the abuse that I suffered. No, you should not be talking about that until you're 3 to 6 months along, or he asks, right? We're not giving away tons and tons of information about our last divorce and the abuse in that divorce, the narcissistic ex. No, you're not going to get a man's cherishing and respect by oversharing, by giving too much and talking too much, okay? So some of the things I want you to avoid talking about within the first 3 months is these exes and the previous relationships, other than to say, oh, it didn't work out, we're not together anymore. Long, boring story, that's it, Any abuse or neglect that you suffered, it's too soon. That's what I call oversharing. This person hasn't earned the right to your story. So think about it that way. A person has to earn the right to my story. I'm not telling them any and everything about me in the first 3 months. I'm going to share a little. I'm going to ask questions so they can share a little. And we're going to keep doing that dance. And then intimacy should deepen as time goes on, okay? But ask some questions. Here's another thing I want you to do, and this is a hard ask, I get it, for a lot of women. I want you to become comfortable with silence. Become comfortable with silence. There can be a time within the date that you're not saying anything, right? You're waiting for him to fill the space. Leave some silence, leave some pauses there so he can fill that space. Okay. But a lot of this is born out of feeling like you need to sell yourself. I have to oversell. I have to sell myself. I'm just trying to show you how great I am. I'm just trying to sell you. And you don't have to do that. You do not have to do that. The mystery. Remember, we've talked about the mystery before, that a feminine woman has a slight air of mystery or uncertainty, right? I often say that when I leave a date and I've asked a few casual questions, I've thrown out a few things here or there about myself, or he's asked some questions of me, I know the date was a success when the man, follows up with, I really didn't, it's like we went on this date and, I learned a couple things about you, but I'm really curious to know more about you. I feel like I really don't know more about you. And I'm like, yeah, because that's how I plan it. I'm not going to spill my guts on the first date. That's what keeps a man coming back for more, is that he doesn't know everything, and the less, the better. So, no oversharing, ladies. And in your text, here's a quick way to see if you're oversharing. If your man is sending 1 or 2 sentences and you are responding with 3 and 4 paragraphs, you're probably saying too much. You're using too many words and you're oversharing. And I'm always getting on women about this because they screenshot their texts between them and a man and they send it to me. And every time, 99% of the time, you all, what's the first thing I say? You're using too many words. Why are you responding to two sentences with 3 paragraphs? Like, what's happening? Why are you doing that? Find a way to say what you need to say shorter, right? You're going to balance these text exchange. So if a man sends me a long message, I send him a long message. If a man sends me a short exchange, I send him an equally short exchange. Remember, he's leading, you're following. Okay? Number 7. Okay. I want you to value respect and cherishing over being liked, right? So this is one where, unfortunately, the culture has kind of trained women to want to be liked. Like, this is a thing, right? And they want to be liked. They want to be liked by other women. They want to be liked by men. And so I really need you to value a person's respect or a man's cherishing over him liking you, right? Why is that? Well, you actually have no control over whether a person likes you or not. Like, that's completely out of your control. They either like you or they don't. Like, that's it, right? And oftentimes, you know, some people don't and they don't even know why. It's happened to me where I've met a person and just was like, no, thank you. That's not my person, right? That's just not my person. And I can't even, you know, pinpoint always what it is, but it's an energy that I'm like, yeah, our energies are not going to mesh well. So I just, you know, I'm cordial to that person if I have to see them, but I don't become best friends with them. I don't. But guess what? You can control whether a person respects or cherishes you. That's something you can control by being a respectable person. I'm going to give you some more ways in here because remember, that's what these 10 ways is about. These are things that you're going to do that will create in a man like, oh, wow, I really cherish her. I really respect her. It's what you're doing with these things that are going to bring about that knowing, that feeling. Okay, but you cannot control whether a person likes you or not. You can control whether they respect you by doing these things. Okay, so make sure that in your mind, you're not saying, I just want to be liked. I just want to be liked. And you're doing whatever you feel like you need to do to be liked, because the chances are it is not going to work. Here's a good example. When I was in high school, my senior year of high school, so I went to 3 different high schools. By senior year, I was the new girl senior year. So I went to a brand new high school for senior year. And I had been through so much in my other 3 years of high school that I just was flippant. Like, I admit it. I was the most flippant, ambiguous, you know, apathetic, like that's how I felt about everything and everybody. I could care less, right? I could care less. I just need to get through this senior year. I need to move on with my life. And I mean, I just thought high school was stupid anyway. I was like, let me just get on, you know, get through high school, get on with my life. That's when my real life begins. Because there are some people who the best part of their life was actually high school, which I think is really sad. But I was like, no, this isn't even close to the rest of my life. So I was just like, whatever. I was really apathetic. I could care less what people thought about me. I just could care less. And so senior year, I come in. I just am like, meh, you know, I don't really know anybody. I'm the new girl. And it was the fact that I could care less whether people liked me or not. I got scooped up by the popular crew. I started dating the captain of the football team. I ran track. I was a cheerleader. And by definition, I was popular in high school. But y'all, I'm going to be honest with you. I did not even try. Like, I did not even try to be popular or to be in the cool kids crew. I didn't even try. Like, they came to me. They scooped me up into their crew and was like, yeah, you're one of us. You're popular, this or that. But it was that lack of, I don't care if you like me. Like, I don't care. You know, I was just completely like, so? And then I remember once I was adopted by the cool kids at school, I would still kind of just talk to whoever I wanted. I would talk to underclassmen. I would talk to whoever, people who they deemed weren't cool. I talked to everybody, right? And they were like, what are you doing talking to that person? Like, they're uncool. You're not. I was like, look, you're not going to tell me who I can talk to. You're not going to tell me what to do, you know? And it's like, the more I was like that, the more they liked me. the more they liked, I don't know, this rebellious spirit in me, this underdog spirit, but they like me even more because they were like, yeah, she's not letting anybody tell her what to do. I was like, no, I'm going to be friends with whoever I want. I'm going to talk to whoever I want. I could give a flip about what y'all think. But that attitude is what made them like me. The fact that I didn't care. I did not care what they thought. Isn't that interesting? And the same with the captain of the football team. Every girl in the school was trying to get with him. But the fact that I could give a flip about him, I was like, so, like, don't nobody care about that, and I don't even watch football no way, and he was like, well, I want to take you out. I want to be with you, I was like, okay. And, we wound up having a long relationship, but yeah, I could give a flip. So trust me when I tell you, the less you care, right? The less you worry about people liking you, the better chance you have of that happening. So value being respected and being cherished over being liked. Number 6, it's so important that you invest in yourself. And what does invest in yourself look like? We've talked about this before. I want you to take great care of yourself. I want you to take classes. I want you to listen to podcasts like this one. I want you to watch YouTube videos. I want you to read books. I want you to go to therapy or get coaching. I want you to go to the spa, get a massage, get your hair done, get your nails done. I want you to spend time and money on you because that says I care about me. I love me, right? I deserve to be invested in. I love myself, and I deserve to be invested in. And once people see that, people want to do the same. They want to invest in you as well. They want to cherish you and they want to respect you. So invest in yourself, ladies. And for those of you who are out there saying, well, I don't really have any money and I don't have money for coaching. I don't have money for therapy. Okay. But I need you to invest time, right? You can watch a YouTube video for free. You're watching this right now on YouTube for free. And I need you to keep going. Take notes, right? There's lots of free resources out there. Take advantage of them, but you must do the work. Time and money. That's what is telling me how you feel about yourself. Okay. Number 5, we are going to avoid people pleasing and approval seeking. And I've already talked about this in number 7. Right? We want to be cherished and respected. We are not, worrying about what people think about us or what we're doing or what we're saying or who we're with. We got to give that up. You have got to stop the people pleasing. You have got to stop the approval seeking. I'm doing this because other people are going to like it. Other people are going to want me to do this. And this goes for your friends, your family, men, people at work, people at school, doesn't matter who it is. Stop worrying about what other people think about you and stop, following trends and doing everything that's trendy because everybody else is doing it. And so, yeah, I'm going to look like one of the cool kids. I mean, I'll say this. My astrological sign is Aquarius. And so one of the things to know about us is that we are typically a rebel without a cause. We are very much like go against the grain type of people. What do they call us? Eccentric. They call us eccentric. They call us just different, right? Unique and different. And that's typical of the Aquarian. And so I know that's true of me in the sense of I just don't care what people think. I really don't. I don't spend a lot of my time worrying about what other people think about me and what I'm doing. I'm put here for a plan and a purpose. God has put a purpose in my heart. And so I'm just working on that. And in my mind, as long as I'm kind to people, as long as, I'm just being a good person, a person of integrity, like that's all that matters. And so we got to get away from this idea of, wanting to please other people, doing things all the time to gain people's, admiration or attention. Like, do it because you're a good person, but outside of that, like, so what? Okay. One thing I see ladies doing a lot, and you got to break this habit, is this idea of self-deprecating. A lot of women will self-deprecate to try to get a compliment. They'll fish for compliments. So here's what that looks like. oh, this old dress, this old shirt, oh, this hair color, oh, this haircut, oh, it's not that great. They'll self-deprecate in hopes that a person will say, oh my God, girl, that hair color looks so great on you. Are you kidding me? Oh, no way. That dress can't be secondhand. That dress looks fly. That's what they're really after. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. That screams insecurity. That screams that, I need to be validated by other people to feel good about myself. All that matters when I get up in the morning and I do my makeup and I do my hair and I put on something is what I think about it. Does it fit well on me? Do I like this color on me? And here's the thing I'm going to tell you. This happened to me today. Lots of people said, oh my God, I love your hair. I love that color on you. Oh, that dress is so pretty. I heard that a lot, but it's because I already knew that. I already knew that I love, this purple color is my color. This dress fits well on my body. Like I already knew that. And because I already knew that and I believed that and I felt that, it's like that energy went out and it did come back. Now, if it never came back, that's fine too, because I liked it. I believed I looked good in it. So lay off the fishing for compliments. And women do this with other women. They do it with other men. You do not need to do that. I never self-deprecate. I have a rule that I teach all of my counseling and coaching clients. You do not speak negatively of yourself ever. Ever. I just don't understand why women do that. Like, why would you volunteer a negative response or a negative, why? I don't get that. But we got to stop that. Okay. All right. That was number 5. No people pleasing. Okay. Number 4. Ooh, we got to talk about this one. Manage your emotions well. Can I be honest? So we're going to roll from number 5 into number 4. When you are insecure, when you are anxious, when you are jealous or envious, when you are passive aggressive, okay? It's completely unattractive. It is unattractive in a man. It is unattractive in a woman. There's nothing attractive about that. When you are catty, right? Very unattractive. Okay. You are not going to get a man's respect or cherishing by not managing your emotions well. Being cool, right? Being calm, being collected. So for instance, sending texts, shooting off these texts full of emotion, right? Shooting off these paragraphs of text full of words that are hurtful, full of words that are full of acid, right? Writing letters and sending them. Saying things that you don't really mean, or maybe you do mean it. Maybe you do mean it, but because you don't manage your emotions well, you just let it fly. Maybe deep down, you really do mean it. Because I'm going to be honest with y'all. There's been a few times in my life where I've completely let my mouth get me into trouble. And when I look back on it, the truth is, I did mean it. I meant it. Can I be honest? I meant it. I don't even know why people say that. Why they say, oh, I said something I didn't mean to say. Yes, you did. You meant it. You just didn't mean to say it. That's the way people need to really say that. But you did mean it, because I did. Everything I was telling that man, I meant it. That's what I felt in my soul. I couldn't believe I said it out loud. But learning how to manage your emotions better, that's how you're going to get people's respect. When you are hot-headed, when you are what a lot of ladies call passionate, my grandmother calls it being a sapphire, right? Having an attitude, snapping on people, going off, being loud, being boisterous, talking crazy, right? People don't respect that. People do not respect people like that, because it's like, you can't be trusted. You're going off. I can't tell you anything, because if you get mad, if you get angry, you can't manage your emotions well. They can't take you anywhere. So they're just like, and y'all, do y'all have one of those friends? I know I do. Do y'all have one of those friends that you can't talk to them on speakerphone? That's a sign right there. If you can't talk to a person on speakerphone, then because you don't know what they're going to do. You don't know what they're going to say. and they're going to end up embarrassing you and them. So learn how to manage your emotions better. Your feelings, believe it or not, are not always a fact. You are entitled to your feelings. Your feelings are valid. Your feelings are also temporary. Your feelings are giving you information, but we have to stop being led around by our feelings like they're facts, that this is what it is. And, you know, because I'm feeling this way, I'm always going to feel this way. No, your feelings are temporary, and you feel them so you can let them flow through you and then let them go. That's it. And then you get back into your rational mind. Okay. So number 4 is manage your emotions well. If you want a man to cherish and respect you, you have to learn how to manage your emotions well. Okay. Number 3 is you are going to find ways to add value to others, especially your man. All right. And so what does this look like? Because a lot of my codependent ladies, they're doing this like, ooh, I get to give and do. No, you don't. I get to buy him things and cook his dinner and wash his clothes and take care of his kids and clean up his house. No, that's not the value I'm talking about. I'm talking about being a feminine woman. I'm talking about bringing an energy to his life. So remember, the masculine world is black and white. And when the feminine comes in, everything turns to technicolor. That's what being a feminine woman is, and adding value to a masculine man. We bring the spice. We bring, you know, the color to his world. Okay. So be an interesting person. Bring the inspiration, bring the encouragement, bring the sweet and the softness, bring positivity. That's one way you can add value. Be positive, right? Have a good personality. Right? Have a good personality, maybe intellect. So that's what I bring to a lot of men. Not only do I bring the feminine, the soft, the sweet, and the positive and the encouraging, I also bring my intellect, because a lot of men say, oh, we have some of the most amazing conversations. You ask some of the most, you know, interesting questions. I'm always like looking forward to our conversations. I hear that a lot from the men that date me. And so, yes, that's how I bring value. That's how I bring value to a man and to people in general. You know, I am a good listener. That's another way that you can bring value. Be a good listener. Okay. Ask good questions and really listen. Listen for understanding. Listen to comprehend what's being said. Mirror back what's being said. Okay. I bring a lot of wise counsel to people. That's how I add value. Okay, because I have 54 years of living experience. I have 18, 19 years of studying relationships. So, and communication, because communication, that's my jam. Like, I'm an over communicator. That's what I have been reading and studying on and been in school for years, is communication. So that's how I add value. So again, most of the men who date me, they're like, yeah, Anita is an over communicator. I never worry about, you know, a lack of communication with her because she's an over communicator. And I'm like, exactly. So bring value. And that does not look like you doing things for him, buying him things, giving him money or any of that. It's just your very being as a woman, right? I want you to dive into, who am I as a woman? How does that bring value to a masculine man's life? And this is something that a lot of women don't take time to really stop and think about or feel about. They just don't. They jump immediately to the masculine giving and doing. And no, that is not what I'm talking about at all. But really think about what that would look like for you. What's unique about you? What is it about you that stands out among all the other women out there? Right? Men love to say to me, the manosphere men say, well, it's a competition and women need to compete for men now. It's a competition and you women are a dime a dozen. Not me. Not me. No one is Anita. No one does it like Anita does it. But you have to believe that. You have to believe in your unique gifts and talents. So a man who is with me, when he is not with me anymore, oh, trust me, he feels it. He knows it. He's like, wow, I really miss this and I really miss that. I don't have conversations the way I did with Anita. I don't get inspired the way I did with Anita. I don't get the positivity that Anita brought. I don't get the ability to really think, right? I don't get that warmth and that sensuality that Anita brought to me. So yes, ladies, this is what I want you to start to develop. That's the feminine gifts that you bring to a man, not what you give and do. All right. Number 2, I want you to be a woman of integrity. This one is huge because this is how you're going to get a man's cherishing and respect. You are going to do what you say you're going to do. You are going to do the right thing even when no one is looking. That's what integrity is, right? You're not going to make empty promises, or you're not going to just talk just to hear yourself, or say you're going to do a whole bunch of stuff that you don't do. You're not going to not keep your word or break promises to yourself or him. But people will lose respect for you when you do this. People can't really trust you if you say you're going to do things and you don't, or you don't have integrity as a person. Okay, so you've got to learn how to keep promises to yourself and keep promises to others. Here's a wonderful example of this. So the last man that I dated, he was known for not keeping his word. He was known for not keeping his promises. And what was so interesting about that is I first noticed it when he actually would tell me something that he was going to do for himself. So it wasn't even about me initially. It was just, I'm going to drink more water. I'm going to go for a walk in the morning. I'm going to start reading. I'm going to do this. I'm going to, I'm going to go to church more. I'm going to start praying more, reading my Bible, right? And I was like, oh, okay, and so initially I just took his word at face value. But then as I got to know him and he would say he was going to do things and I noticed that he wasn't doing them, I started to call him on it. I said, it's so interesting. You said you were going to start getting up in the morning and walking, and yet I've noticed for the last 5 or 6 mornings, you haven't done that. I started calling him on it. Or you said you were going to go and participate in this, but I noticed it's getting closer and closer to that time and you haven't signed up to do it. Or I noticed you said you were going to stop eating meat, right? You're going to stop eating meat. And again, this is something he said to me. Like I didn't present this challenge. This is what he just came up and said. Oh, I'm going to stop eating meat. And yet every time I turned around, he was eating a McDonald's hamburger. So I was like, you can't be trusted. That's what I immediately thought. Like, I can't trust you. You can't even keep a promise to yourself, much less to me. And here's what eventually happened, you all. So that started happening with me. He started making promises to me. He started telling me what he was going to do with us or with me, and he wasn't doing it. So yeah, I want you to notice that right away, that even if he makes a promise to himself, if he doesn't keep it, that's not a person of integrity. That's a person who either is talking just to talk, or maybe they haven't built up that muscle within themselves. But it was a total turnoff. That was the beginning of the end. When I started hearing all these promises being made and them not being fulfilled, then it started bleeding over into me. Yeah, I'm going to be over. Yeah, I'm coming over right now. And 3 hours later, I was like, yeah, this does not work for me. This is not okay. So I don't want you to be that person either. I want you to be a person of your word. If you tell someone you're going to do something, do it. And here's the solution. I tell everybody this. Stop talking. Just stop talking. Stop promising things. Like, if you can't do it, the solution is just don't say it. Don't say you're going to do something. Don't sit here and tell everybody, yeah, girl, I'm going to start walking in the morning. I'm going to start going to the gym, or I'm going to start doing this. Stop doing that. If you are having a hard time keeping your word, then hold on to your word. Stop telling everybody what you're doing and you're not doing it. Like, I'm a doer. I just do. Right? Yeah, the book is coming out and it may take a little longer, but it's coming, I'm going to do it, And then there's times where stuff just happens. I don't even tell people that I'm doing it. I just do it. So stop, be a person of your word. Stop saying things that you want to do, whether it's for you or someone else, and not doing it, because it leads to people not trusting you. All right, we are finally at number 1. Are you ready? Ooh, this is a good one. And I have to talk with people a lot about this one too. Number 1, you must be strong and brave. You must have courage when dating or interacting with men or in relationships. Courage is a big one. And courage is one of those things that, in my opinion, in today's world is sorely lacking. Like, people struggle to be courageous. They struggle to be brave. And you must take calculated risks, especially if you're going to have a really great life, especially if you're going to have a really great love. Love and life require risk, right? We're not going to have a truly amazing, loving, warm, connected relationship with a man if we're not willing to take risks. And here's what that looks like. Number one, being vulnerable. Being vulnerable is a huge risk that you must take, because we need to know. We need to know if we can trust this man with our heart. We need to know if we can be vulnerable, if we can be honest and open. We need to know what's going to happen. And ladies, here's the truth. Not every man is going to be a safe container for that. Not every man is going to hold space for you. But I would rather know straight up front. This is why I lead with vulnerability. I'd rather know straight up front that he can't do that and be gone. Like, I'm like, okay, all right, we're good. Yeah, I'm good. Okay. I'd rather know that than never open my heart, never be vulnerable 3, 6 months, 9 months down the line when something happens, right? And I must be vulnerable. I must, there's a death in the family or just something bad happens, and I need to go to my person and know that they can hold space for me, that they're a safe container. And then guess what? They can't. I see it all the time in my practice. People who've been together for months or years, and something's happened, and now they want, I want something close and intimate. You should have been working on that from day one. You must be brave enough to lead with vulnerability as a feminine woman. That is a feminine woman tenet. You need to speak up. That's going to require courage and bravery. Speak up to get your needs met. Okay? You must be brave enough to leave. I can't say enough about that. There will be times, ladies, where we can't get our needs met with a specific man. There will be times where it's hard to stay. It's tearing us down. It's beating us down to stay with a man who isn't good for us, who can't meet our needs, who can't be loving, who can't be kind, who can't be masculine. And we need to have the courage to leave. Okay? This is one of those things that you must practice. It's just like a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger you will get. The more you are vulnerable, appropriately vulnerable, the better you will get at it. It will become easy to you, but you must practice it. You must do it. Okay? That's how you're going to get stronger, is you are appropriately vulnerable. You take risks. You are brave. You are courageous. Okay? This is a big one. All right. So I'd like to give you a little bonus here, and it's all about the importance of being confident, walking in confidence, taking pride in your appearance, making sure that you're avoiding certain words, certain speech that are vulgar, that are crass, no profanity, right? That we're not exhibiting disrespectful body language. We're watching the tone of our voice. We're watching the volume of our voice. All of these things will garner respect and cherishing from our man. And that's what we're really after. Here's the thing I always tell ladies. When a man is with you and leaves you, when he's gone away to do wherever, whether it's work or whatever he's doing, we want him to truly believe, like, wow, my woman is amazing. I just cherish her so much. She's so special. I can't imagine not being with her. I can't imagine her not being my woman. I have so much respect for her. Like, that's how we want him to think. That's how we want him to feel about us. And even if he can't put words to it, that's what will be going on inside of him. Like, high value, high standards. My lady is, a queen amongst queens, and I would not even consider disrespecting her. I would not even consider, leaving her or doing something that would cause her to leave me. Like, that's the energy your man should have. And so it's these 10 things that we just talked about that is going to lead to that type of result in the man that you're with. Okay? So listen to this episode again. Take notes. Take notes, because you might need to take notes on this episode if, you are like, okay, what else did Anita say? She went through a lot of things. This was a long episode, but listen to this episode again and take notes. But this is the way to get a man to truly value you, cherish you, and respect you. Okay? I hope this episode was helpful. I thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. I'm getting very close to 1,000 subscribers, and so hit that subscribe button. I would so appreciate it. If you would like to learn more about me and my products and my services on my website, please head over to www.betterlovemovement.com, where you can find out all about one-on-one coaching, the products and the services that I have there. And do not forget to check out the brand new book that has just come out for all of my ladies in relationships, or if you are dating someone. It is called Do Well, A Feminine Woman's Guide to Relationship Success. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining me this week. And as always, stay open to love. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of the Better Love Movement podcast. If you are not subscribed to the podcast, please do so now so that you can be alerted every Monday when a new episode comes out. Please rate and review this podcast, as your ratings help me to grow the podcast and offer more free content to you. If you are watching this episode on YouTube, please do me a huge favor and subscribe to the channel. Give this video a thumbs up and share it if it brought you value. If you have a question that you would like to have answered on the show, please send it to me at info@betterlovemovement.com. You can also reach me on my website, www.betterlovemovement.com, to get more information on love mentoring and other services offered. Thank you so much for listening, and as always, stay open to love.